All right, it's great to have you join us this lovely Saturday morning, the 1st of July 2023. This is a Break It On paper review. A happy new month to all of you out there. Of course, we're set to bring you all of the headlines coming out of the newspapers this morning. I have with me the Guardian newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Nation newspaper, the Daily Post, amongst a bunch of other papers. We'll bring you the headlines first, then much later we'll do the analysis, take your reactions along the way as well. Let's start off with the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Retirement windfall, ex-service chiefs get 4 bulletproof SUVs, 20 domestic aids, 36 soldiers. It's the major story from the Punch newspaper this morning. And yes, a major talking point out of all the papers this morning. We'll be looking at that one as we go ahead. Consumers traders lament as tomato pepper scarcity hits markets. That's another one. Railway debt servicing gulped $63 million in quarter one, says DMO. They're talking business there. Another Nigerian chef, Adeola, begins 150-hour cookathon to break Guinness records. That's on the entertainment side of the Punch. How I emerged best UTME candidate with 360 score. Teenager. More stories from the Punch. Army nabs 12 rail track vandals in Nasarawa. Ex-Falcon star Ave wants team restructured. IG summons Edo policeman for crushing handcuff suspect. Rivers police raid kidnapping camp, rescue victim. I'll knock out Joshua in 3 rounds. That's according to Wilder. Alright, still with the Punch. Army nabs 12 rail track vandals in Nasarawa. Already took that one. Gombe police kill suspected robber. Police recover pistol cow from cattle rustlers. Car rams into truck, kills 3, injures 1 in Ogun. Man 39 allegedly defiles 15-year-old at gunpoint. And lastly, from the Punch this morning, police van runs over handcuffed man, officers arrested. All right, I move over to the Nation newspaper. Anxiety, confusion trail. Proposed electricity tariff hike. Anxiety, confusion trail. Proposed electricity tariff hike. NUC, ASU clash over new curriculum. And that's talking education, of course. PSC approves appointment of 8 CPs. Sultan, Niger Delta leaders back Tinubu over fuel subsidy. There's another one there from the Nation. All right, some other headlines from the Nation newspaper. Southwest governors on the others to host homecoming ceremony for Tinubu. NAS to address climate change through legislation, says Abbas. Stop deceiving your followers. Submit yourself to security agencies. Ogun APC chides Debo 2. I was only elected once as Bayelsa governor. Silva tells court, you're too desperate to be Nasarawa governor. Sule wants Umbugadu. Abia Opera as OT suspends head of service permanent secretaries. Some more headlines here. Amnesty program uncovers 1,370 BVN-linked bank accounts belonging to ex-agitators. And lastly, from the Nation, I'm leaving military bigger, stronger, more capable. Irabo. All right, we'll take some headlines now from the Nigerian Tribune. I have this one. Enugu NUJ slams police over harassment of members. I could have benefited from multiple exchange rates if retained, Tinubu says. Akwa Ibom mapping. Governor Eno sues for calm among affected communities. Governor Oti suspends head of service, permanent secretaries is the headline there from the Nigerian Tribune. More headlines here. Stop misleading Nigerians on new varsity curriculum. NUC tells ASU or Shun Governor Adeleke assures residents of subsidy palliatives. Funab emerges second best university in Nigeria, 26th in Africa. Demolitions, I have no regrets, says Kano governor. Court clash, claim 2 lives in Anambra. I'll prioritize education, youth empowerment. Kaduna lawmaker assures constituents. Oyo to decouple Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. That's, of course, coming home to Oyo State. Makinde appoints Operation Burst DG, ex-Tribune man, 10 other aides. Edo Opera in Ekpoma as police van runs over demobilized suspect. Ministerial appointments team will ensure equity, fairness, justice, APC, Chifton says. I'll take some headlines from the Guardian newspaper. Here I have this one: suspense over planned electricity tariff hike. Another one here: drug abuse, curbing menace with humane science-backed approaches. That's from the Saturday magazine page of the Guardian. This morning, CSOs demand justice for woman lynched over alleged witchcraft. Sean Fakwa, my faith has helped me manage fame. Rail track vandals attempted to bribe troops with 5 million naira after arrest, says Army. Heat wave in Mexico claims over 100 lives in 2 weeks. U.S. approves 140 million arms sale to Taiwan amidst tensions with China. Burkina Faso suspends French news channel over report on insurgency. Subsidy removal, Adeleke to announce palliatives in Oshun. Some of the headlines from The Guardian. We take a look at the pages of the Premium Times newspaper this morning. Baba Aisha investigative report wins global prize for highest impact. President Bola Tinubu tackles Nigeria's economy is another one. I was sure Buhari's Naira redesign policy would not prevent my electoral victory. Elsewhere, why unified exchange rate refused to partake in arbitrage. That's coming from Tinubu. 11 people killed in Benin Road accident, FRC. Why women are absent from Nigeria's corridors of power is an editorial from the Premium Times newspaper this morning. Naira drops exchanges at 769.25 kobo to dollar. Accident claims 3 lives on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. ASU kicks against NUC's new curriculum benchmark. Don't play politics with military. Ex-CDS Irabo warns politicians. Shettima urges Northwest leaders to support Tinubu administration to tackle insecurity. Other challenges: Saudi, US, Iran. Others react as man burns Quran in Sweden. Nigerian military pulls out ex-CDS Irabo from service. I'll take some more here from the Premium Times. Police arrest suspected ritualist with human skull in Akwa Ibom. Governor Oti suspends permanent secretaries, head of service. Building collapses in Port Harcourt. Yemi Alade releases new single, Fake Friends. RMD, Kunle Afolayan, Jadi Oshiberu get Oscar voting rights. Mac bans executive member missing. That's according to the family there. Some of the Michael entertainment stories from the Premium Times. All right, we take headlines from the Daily Trust now. Our national VP is missing. INT'L raises alarm. Our national VP is missing. INT'L raises alarm. Inside Tinubu's dramatic 1 month in office. All right, Governor Ahmed gifts 300 rials each to 3,000 Bochi pilgrims in Mecca. More stories. I have spent 20 years fixing potholes pro bono. Hawan Nasarawa, Emir Bayero pays Salah homage to governor. 67 condemned prisoners await execution. Sweden, northern Christian pastors condemn Quran burning. Call for calm. Some more headlines here. Seaport terminal operators jack up cargo handling charges by 45%. Federal government okays vehicle importation via land borders. Parents, students cry out as varsities hike strike. Some headlines from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. We'll take some more here. FG already took that one. Stallion Auto Keke delivers 140 Bajaj tricycles to Yobe. PDP hails Tinubu over subsidy removal. Naira devaluation. PDP hails Tinubu over subsidy removal. Naira devaluation is that headline. This bond is unbreakable, says ex-CDS as he pulls out of service. Take some more here. 57 women in 993 state assembly seats. Discouraging is the other headline there from the Daily Trust. All right, headlines out of the Daily Post newspaper this morning. Uncertainty hovers around Nigerian footballers out of contract this summer. There's a sports headline there. 1 month after pains of subsidy removal linger. 1 month after, pains of subsidy removal linger. Edo officers who handcuffed man ran over him with vehicle identified police PRO. Autumn denies being nominated for ministerial appointment by Tinubu. CSO's Ipman to set to clash over planned increase of fuel pump price. Why Naira is undervalued, financial expert Golade. If you're so interested, you can find that in the pages of the Daily Post. Enugu government sets up task force on erosion challenges as NIMET warns of flooding. Abia OT suspends principles of all nursing midwifery institutions. Sit at home needed for Nnamdi Kanu's release. Ekpa, Ogunbono, Oyo, others get new police commissioners is the headline there out of the Daily Post. All right, some more headlines here. Austrian government to enroll pensioners on health insurance scheme. Makini appoints Jibola as Operation Burst DG. 11 others sit at home and needed for Nnamdi Kanu's release, says EPA. Ogun 2023, my family didn't give Venga Daniel a dime, Adibutu says. Stop giving false hope to your followers. Submit yourself to security agencies. Ogun APC replies Adibutu. All right, joining me this morning, of course, to break down the stories and make sense of them, talk about the headlines, is Austin Udumo. Good morning, Austin.
Yeah, good morning, Kenny. How are you?
Fine, fine, thank you, Austin. A lovely morning to you. Happy new month.
Thank you. Happy New Month to you too.
Okay, and yes, we'll be looking at some of the headlines with you, and one of those that catches the eye this morning is this one I spotted from the Punch newspaper: retirement windfall. Ex-service chiefs get 4 bulletproof SUVs. 20 domestic age, 36 soldiers. Is the report out of the Punch newspaper this morning. It's quite an interesting one. Let's see what you make of this particular one.
Yes, the retired service chiefs, they are going home with certain thing which is according to their perk of office. There's what we call harmonized salary structure for them in terms of benefits that some of them are going home with. That is customary within the military. I want to say that this is about the first time this is coming out majorly to the public domain, because oftentimes you don't get to hear some of these things. We have a caliber of military officers in the country, especially those who fall within the category of the service chiefs,
Right.
like the chief of defense staff and chief of defense staff, chief of army staff, chief of air staff, and chief of naval staff. They all belong to the same category. But the chief of defense staff is oftentimes promoted to a full-star general. So the chief of defense staff is a four-star general that is either to be promoted. So if you look at General Lucky Rabo, the entitlement include a bulletproof car, a bulletproof SUV with, I think, 2 additional vehicles, which fall within the category of escort vehicle, and some security guards. Then we also have cook and personal orderly.
Yeah.
Which means that people have to be in his house at every point in time. And this is customary within the Nigerian military cycle, and so on and so forth. Those in that category falls within the general, which is the chief of army staff, chief of defense staff. Then we have chief of army staff, which is a 3-star general. Then we have those who are major general. Those ones fall within, I think, a 2-star general. Then we have brigadier general. So their entitlement varies from their particular rank. And this is captured in the harmonized terms and conditions of service for officers of the armed forces, revised in 2017. So, but like I said earlier, if you look at those in the category of 4-star general, which is the highest so far, will also be entitled to what you call a health care package, which means that the armed forces will take care of him for as long as he lives, will take care of his health. That is to the tune of $20,000 per annum,
Right.
which is within or outside the country, whatever he chooses. But like I said earlier, this is really not a big deal. But I think in recent time, this is the first time we are having a breakdown of what the service chiefs get as their entitlement.
Right.
Once they leave office. This is about the very first time, because oftentimes this does not get to the public. But one thing I know is that even while growing up, once you are a retired military general, your house, you always have military personnel, especially the soldiers,
Right.
guarding your home. That will be there for as long as that individual leaves. For me, I would say is well deserved for them. This is clearly spelled out, unlike some other political office holder that will tell you that a palatial mansion in Abuja, another one in Lagos, with some of these SUVs, more than one, more than two, more than three. So if you look at the category of the CDS, for example,
Right.
you discover that it's only entitled to a bulletproof SUV, an aid camp, which is like his personal security. So, and some other
Correct.
thing. So I
Alright.
think this is just coming out for the first time. So we shouldn't belabor ourselves so much
All right.
about what they are entitled to.
Not much of a surprise for you, and you think it's fair.
Yes, so, of course.
Yeah.
I don't think it's arbitrary as far as this is concerned. If you look at those who have also gone before them, of course, this is it. But I think somehow we are getting a kind of full detail of
Right.
what is going to be, at least for now. Like that of a lieutenant general, for example, um, one Land Cruiser, one SUV, Toyota Land Cruiser, two Peugeot 508 car, then four residential guards, I think two cook, two steward. So if you look at their level, this is what is obtainable as far as the military enhanced, harmonized terms and conditions of service for the armed forces
All right,
as
Austin.
revised in 2017 is concerned.
All right, Austin. Let's take a look at another headline here. I was sure Buhari's Naira redesign policy would not prevent my electoral victory. That's according to Tinubu. Also, yesterday we had news about a statement from the president where he said he had to invoke the spirit of freedom during the challenges he faced during the election period and all of that. This particular headline is from the Premium Times newspaper here. What do you make of those statements from Mr. President yesterday?
Yes, Mr. President was, I think he went to Ogun State. So from there, he made some statement, especially the Emilocon stuff,
Yeah.
and also about the Naira redesign. You know, he made some of the specific statements in Ogun State, Abeokuta to be precise. The issue of Emilocon emanated from Ogun State, and the issue of during Naira redesign also came from Ogun State, where the comment he made during Naira redesign, when he made mention that it was orchestrated to ensure that he didn't win the election. The popular slogan that tẹ́ bá gbé epo pamọ́ a máa dìbò a máa wọlé. So he made that statement in Ogun State. So yesterday he also made the statement that he was sure Naira redesign policy wouldn't prevent his election victory. If you look at it, Tinubu has been a dogged political fighter. And I can say by my own assessment of the whole process, the electionary process, right from the primary to him becoming the candidate of his party, throughout the electionary campaign, obnoxious policy of the government in power at that time towards the election, suggested that Tinubu never enjoyed the advantage of a ruling party. Honestly, when I heard Garba Shehu spoke, I think about a few days ago, that the president could not do certain things so that his party will not lose election in the 2023 general election. In short, President Muhammadu Buhari administration did everything within its power to promote opposition political party at that time. How could there be so much scarcity of petroleum products in the build-up to the election? At the same time, people sleep over in the bank. just to collect their money.
Right.
So all of this make individuals and masses in the country hostile. So it became very serious that people never wanted to vote for the ruling party. Maybe somehow prosperity has had it that Tinubu will occupy the office of the president. I do not know. But in my view and by my assessment and majority of assessment, Tinubu never enjoyed the advantage of a ruling party at all. Because before now, what we are used to politically is that for a ruling party to win election, they will start coming up with certain policy that will make people to vote for them at the die minute. Some of them will reduce prices of some important commodity in the country, right, just to be able to carry favor from the people. But Tinubu's political party and his own ruling government had to make life more difficult for the country in the build-up to the election, to make an average Nigerian not to see the reason to vote for their party. You know, for the first time, ASU had to go on a prolonged strike as if the problem is unsolvable. Meanwhile, there is a way the problem could have been solved. Each ministers make sure that they destroy the country to the extent that people will not even find reason to vote for the ruling party. And you see the results in the election. In my assessment too, I believe Tinubu won by a narrow escape. A ruling party, someone of Tinubu's caliber, winning 12 states to become the president of the country. So it was a narrow escape for him, maybe because of his doggedness and his political vibrancy that took him that far. In short, some of the states that were earlier predicted, especially in the up north, that he will win hands down just because his party has stronghold in those areas. He never won in them. Look at Zamfara, for example. Look at Zamfara. Look at the result that came from Zamfara. Look at the result that came from Boni, the state of Yobe, the state of the Senate president. Look at the result that came from there. The party was fully divided there. They said they were fighting. When the president lost the presidential election, before the governorship election, they had to call themselves and say, we need to sheath our sword. Then they voted and made sure that APC won the governorship. So some of the states that APC lost the presidential election, they won in their governorship election. Look at Lagos, for example. Nothing has ever threatened the stronghold of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in Lagos. But somehow he lost the presidential election, even while he was on the ballot, even in Lagos State. That has never happened to him before, right from 1999. Even while he was never on the ballot, he made sure that he secured Lagos for any candidate that he support. Right. But the reverse is the case. So by and large, the Naira policy of the president did not affect him. Not that it was not intended not to affect him. Because I find it strange for the CBN to come up with such a policy just to target politicians that have their people almost everywhere, politicians that have their own people in CBN that will bring out money for them even in CBN. They are now making policy to say, oh, we are targeting politicians. And at the end of the day, you saw the impact of that policy. It was the masses, the poor, vulnerable masses that suffer. Right. The politician will never suffer for such policy. They will make a call. They will just call and say, I need this money. We saw how the new redesigned note was flying. Politicians were getting it in hundreds of millions. A governor even came out to tell us that one of his friends, his counterpart, got 500 million naira cash of the redesigned notes at that time, where an average Nigerian could not even get 2,000 naira from their account. So I think the president will be making some political statements one way or the other, because even before the election in Ogun State, he made comment that suggested that the policy was targeted at him. Now he's coming out to say that, oh, that even could not stop him from winning the election. Right. That could not stop him does not mean that it was not targeted at him or it was not intended to stop him. But all of these are as a matter of history as we speak today.
Right. Okay, another thing I'd like to get your take on is okay, 1 month, a little over 1 month into fuel subsidy removal. Your thoughts on how we have fared so far?
Yes, in terms of how we have fared, we have not finding it funny at all. That's the truth of the matter. Especially trying to make ends meet. Life is becoming more unbearable and more difficult for people. Not just because of the 500 naira price after subsidy has been removed, but there is serious speculation now as we speak that the price is going to go up as a result of the exchange rate. I think the government have to watch it carefully. Those who are getting PMS, I don't know, whatever that they can do to be able to ensure that they moderate the price for now. So far, for the period under review, in the last 1 month or so, that subsidy has been removed. Of course, a lot of people in the country have managed to adjust one way or the other. Some painfully, they are adjusting because at times you find it funny when you drive into a fuel station,
Right.
and you buy fuel of 20,000 and that will give you just 40 liters. Or you buy fuel of 10,000 and that will give you maybe 20 liters or so. It's not really funny at all. I know of people that spend 5,000 on a daily basis to fuel their car, and not as if their income has increased in a corresponding manner. So, of course, we are trying to ensure that the forces of demand and supply determine a lot of things within the country.
Right.
But I must confess that the hardship is becoming unbearable. A lot of Nigerians cannot really make ends meet as a result of this, in as much as so many people have voted for the fact that subsidy should go. But a lot of people feel that the pain from left, right, and center is becoming very unbearable.
Right.
That even while subsidy was in place, we never enjoy any benefit. The common man has always suffered in Nigeria. Now subsidy has been removed. The bulk of the suffering also lies on the shoulder of the common man. So whatever the government can do, come up with other form of economic reform, other form of palliative, in terms of electricity, for example. Let now, for some areas in Ibadan, as I speak to you now, in the last 24 hours, there have not been lights, there have not been electricity.
Right.
That is one of the challenge that we are talking about. If you are selling PMS at an exorbitant rate after the regulation, then there is no power supply, which means that most of the people will be forced to power their generator, which means they will go to the fuel station and buy the same products to power their generator.
Right.
I think it's being unfair. So the government should fix every other area of the economy. Of course, I'm quite aware that the government is still very young in office. They are trying to do too many things at the same time. In the process of doing that, they should ensure that the common man is not aggressively pushed to the wall. Because anytime, any day, when you push a goat to the wall and there's nowhere else to go to, the goat definitely will turn back to the owner. And at that point in time, anything can happen. I know that we need to do reform. I know that the reforms are long overdue. It's unfortunate that as a result of the failure of successive administration, we are where we are today. But the governments must understand the fact that it is not the masses that create this problem for themselves. Some people who call themselves political leaders in the past created this problem. So we shouldn't die because of this particular problem. So far, people have adjusted one way or the other, but there is palpable tension even in the land as I speak to you this morning,
Right.
of a speculation that pump price is most likely going to increase any moment from now. 700 naira per liter, that will greatly be very unsustainable.
The question is, Austin, I don't.
Nigeria cannot cope.
Austin, I find it hard to see how Nigerians can handle any further increase in pump price, because as things stand now, it's very noticeable. You go to the filling stations, you ply certain routes, You don't see as much cars as you would normally see. That's just on the surface level. Then the quality of life of the people that has definitely been affected as well. Now, if you say we're going to increase further, I find it difficult to see how people can survive that.
Honestly, people will find it difficult to cope. That's just the truth. Like you said, the quality of life of the people has reduced. We didn't create this problem. Some people created this problem for us. We thought they were doing us good until after some time we discovered that they were shortchanging us. So the government should look for a way. Maybe one of the ways should be to give out more licenses, more approval to importation of PMS. Because I read in a particular piece, I think this morning, that the federal government should grant access to all marketers, as many as possible that are interested in bringing in the products, giving about 6 approval out or 6 licenses out to import PMS. For now, that is still small. We have a lot of players within the sector. As many people as the capacity, the wherewithal financially to bring in the products, let them go ahead and bring them. They may not all bring the product from the same location. So from there, price will vary. Because last week I saw people selling for, or this week I saw people selling for 500 plus, and some people were still selling for 500. Right. So if you sell for 500 and another person is selling for 550, I decide where to go to. So that's it. The government should look for a way, whether giving more licenses will moderate the price for now. Whatever option, they should look at it. We should not just because of the economic reform in terms of foreign exchange, harmonizing rates, then you tell us that, oh, tomorrow it can jump to 1,000, it can jump to 800. I think for now, that will be very, very unsustainable. Right. For an average Nigerian. So the government should look for a way out of it for the people.
You talked about electricity earlier on. Now we're hearing that there was a massive rush for, the recharging of accounts by electricity consumers ahead of the planned hike in tariffs that was announced recently. Of course, there's been a lot as regards that one. Frustrated consumers we hear are unable to recharge their accounts. The discos are blaming vending challenges on poor network. NERC has also basically been mum about the whole situation right now. Feels, subsidy challenges. On the other hand, it's the electricity, challenges as well. It's quite a tough situation for Nigerians if you think about it. Some people are looking, okay, yes, we have the fuel scarcity problem. At the same time, if we can have electricity, to balance things out, but you still have to face other challenges on top of the one that's on ground already. Austin.
Yes, electricity will go a very long way to cushion this effect. Because if power is relatively or readily stable, you find a situation where not too many people will be buying to power their generator. I gave you a breakdown, I think sometime this week, that the Manufacturer Association spent a whopping sum of 144 billion naira and more to generate their power in 2022. So how sustainable is that for our economy? That money somehow will amount to waste when you look at it critically. There was a rush. Me too, I had to buy as much as I can afford in terms of loading my card, my prepaid card. I had to do that yesterday. I sent someone, the fellow who went twice. First number was 65. There was long queue at IB at their office. Wow. So it became a very dicey situation. We have too many people that want to recharge because a lot of people can no longer trust the government. At times when you buy this kilowatt or what they call it, the unit, right, you discover that it is not up to what you are supposed to get. There is a backlash now that the tariff hike should not take effect today. I think NERC has declined approval to the DISCO. We know the way these things work. So despite that disclaimer,
Right.
a lot of consumers still troop out to want to be on the safer side, to load their cards and buy their energy and keep it. Now, what they do most of the time when we rise up against increment in tariff is that after some time, they will stylishly implement the increment without any public notice again. I don't know whether you get what I mean.
Right.
They will stylishly jack it up without making us to know, except if you are very conversant and you study your units very well. You will now discover that for the same amount, it's not up to what I used to get, which means that they have silently and secretly increased the tariff.
Right.
Nobody is saying that the tariff could not be increased, but we are saying at this time we are having too many increments at this time. That is what we are talking about.
Right.
That is pushing a lot of Nigerians to the wall. And if care is not taken, that will also push a lot of businesses out of existence. And you know the ripple effect of that. You know the implication of that, which means that it will occasion job losses and what have you. So the government will have to look at it critically. All of these things ought to have been in place before now. For one reason or the other, majorly embezzlement and maladministration, we couldn't put them in place. So the government could do it one at a time. Nobody is saying that you should not increase. Of course, power generation is capital intensive. To have steady power supply, there will be increments one way or the other. But some of these things are coming too many at the same time. That is what we are urging the government. And if you are going to increase at all, there must be sincere commitment more than ever before to make the service available. You must make it available. I just painted the scenario to you now of some area that used to have lights very well. In the last 24 hours, for one reason or the other, they have not gotten no power generation. So residents in those areas will be forced somehow to go and buy fuel to fuel their generator, if not even to sleep with it, to power their generator and sleep with it.
Right.
At least to preserve some of the things they have in their refrigerator or what have you. So the government must weigh some of these things very well.
Right.
So there was a long queue, network issue at the various recharge center for IBDC yesterday, 2 days ago, because of the rush. You know, one thing with our network, because of our technological infrastructure is weak, once there's little pressure, the network will disappear.
Collapses, yeah.
And everybody will suffer for it. So the hike should not come at this time. And we are also saying they should not secretly come up with the hike. I know what I'm saying. This is what they have done before. If they say they want to increase price and people kick against it, and maybe somehow they were stampede not to increase,
right,
at the end of the day, they do it stylishly and secretly without any public notice. So it is those that are observant that will know at the end of the day. So 40% increment in electricity tariff at this time is not sustainable at all for the people.
All right. You can join the conversation 0705 5949, 0809 7949. Let's have your thoughts on some of the stories that we shared with you and the conversation, yes, that we're having right here on the program. You can also do that on Facebook. We're live on Facebook right now, facebook.com/32FM949 Ibadan. I'd like to take your comments and your thoughts on the stories making the headlines on there as well. On Facebook, I'll take a couple of messages now from Facebook. Okidino Babajinde says, what a largesse from federal government to retired officers. It's not out of place because they have served the country all these years. Also goes on to say, this largesse possibly is captured in the constitution or edits establishing the force. They'll surely get it. Okay, that's the much I can take of that one. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Kenny.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Weston. You see, my take this morning was to do with issue of IBDC and petrol station. We find ourselves in this mess of corruption because of there is no discipline. The system is no more working. I've been saying it for a very long time. Government needs to do something about the system. You can't continue like this. It's the system that is no more working. We don't have this 80% or 90% of Nigeria. No discipline. That is it. That's my take this morning. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, 0705 500949 0809 7949. Those are the numbers to call. Austin, I have another headline here that interests me. I'd like to get your thoughts on. The PDP having hailed Tinubu over subsidy removal, Naira devaluation. We're hearing that it's the PDP in Edo State commending President Bola Tinubu for mustering the courage to remove subsidy from petrol. But hold on with that. Let me take this call first. Let's react to this one. Hello?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Solomon from Aspaga.
All right, let's hear.
It is pitiable to know that our government do some things without putting a proper plan into place to cushion the effects of what they have put on or what they are going to put on people on us. This is all what is happening in the country right now. Removing this, increasing this, without putting something down. There is no proper planning about what is about to happen. You remove subsidy without planning properly and putting things in place that when the effect comes on the masses, that something like this will happen and something like this should be the ones the masses should be enjoying. Now, for the past 1 month, Nigerians have been paying through their noses. Now they are going to increase electricity tariff. Now there are so many things coming under me that we Nigerians are suffering. And now they will say we are in democracy. Now, are we not regretting that we've come to democracy? Are we not even better off when we are in military government, under military government? Can you imagine the kind of rulers we are having? These are not leaders. These are rulers. Putting things on masses. I think in Nigeria, we need a deliverance if possible. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. 0705 500949 0809 7949. Before that call, Austin, I was telling you about the PDP in Edo State and their commendation of President Bola Tinubu's policies, petrol subsidy removal, and what have you. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, it's a good one that maybe the PDP Edo State chapter has come out to realize that what cannot be done by successive administration, this government has taken up the courage and the political way to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. I've always said that any government in power has the opportunity to make Nigeria better. That is just the truth.
Right.
Nobody, as far as I'm concerned, reserve the right to criticize the other person for what they fail to do while they are in the office. So we salute the courage of this current president for being able to muscle the political will, especially at the inception of his administration,
right,
to remove the cancerous subsidy. But we are talking about other areas, palliative, what can cushion the effect. In an economy that we run, some can cope, some cannot cope. So we must make excuses for those who cannot cope.
Right.
That's the truth. We must make excuses for them. And government must also bear it at the back of their mind that in whatever of their policy, they must consider large percentage of our population that cannot cope. Some people, if you buy a liter for 5,000, they can cope. They can maintain their lifestyle. But so many people cannot cope.
Struggling.
I see a lot of SUV now on the road. They will put a bottle of Coke on top. What's the meaning of that? They want to set them up because of the biting fuel situation.
All right, so let's take this call. Hello. All right, do try and call us back. 0705 500949. 0809 7949. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Kelly, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Austin, good morning. I am actually in total support of removal of subsidy, though we all knew it never existed from the beginning. But what surprises me now is 1 month after, that's where you hear some governors now say they are thinking of palliative, even the president himself. I actually think, like one of the callers just said, there should have been an arrangement that at least within a week or two, up till this moment, I stand to be corrected. They are still thinking of the palliative they will give. Maybe it will take like a year before we will now see the palliatives. People are suffering. There should have been an arrangement on how to cushion this effect before even bringing it in. It never existed. Some of us have been shouting it from the beginning. And thank God he removed it. But now, how do we cushion the effect? It should have come up earlier than now. Good morning. It's okay.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. Austin, there, the palliatives and the proactiveness with which they, the planning of it and all of that. How have you felt about that one?
Yes, I am not comfortable with it too. By now, ordinarily, a month after, there should have been something concrete on ground. But I think a lot too is also going on. We have some people within the private sector that are trying to jack up the wages of their workers. That is one angle to it. We also have some state governments that are trying to increase the salary of their workers to cushion the effects. That is also another angle. We also have some state governments that are saying that, you don't have to come to work every day of the week, maybe 3 days within a week, without necessarily having to shut down government offices, which means that on a routine basis, people have to come to work. So we want to see more on that in terms of palliative. Mass transit, for example, immediately the subsidy was removed, the president held meeting with petroleum marketers across the country, and they promised to buy about 1,000 buses or so.
Right.
These mass transit buses that will be shared across the country. So we want to see more of that. We want to see some concrete things. There are a lot of things that take away money from the people. If you can take care of some of this area, transportation is a major aspect of it. If you can take care of some of this area, people will be happy. I don't want us to just continue this way and feel that, they are Nigerians, they can cope in whatever situation, and we'll use that to continue to push ourselves to the wall.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, some can cope, some can
struggle.
adjust, some cannot cope at all. So we must make case and make provision, especially for those who cannot be able to cope.
All right, Austin, let's take this call.
Hostile economic situation.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, do try and go back. On Facebook, Ayo Fagbemi says, after 8 years of agony from the ruling party, nothing has changed for better. Rather, it has only worsened. Leaders that are synonymous to unleashing pains on the citizens can never change. It's only that some Nigerians prefer to be enslaved by voting tormentors. Hello, good morning. Do try the other line. I think you can try the other line. That's 0809 7949 or 0705 5949, whichever. You can try those two lines. Back to some Facebook messages right now from Kidino Baba Tunde. Hold on to that one. Let's see. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Happy New Morning, Mr. Kenny Austin. I think your
happy
second number with 09 something. No, it's like you switch off.
Okay, we'll take a look at it. Take a look at it.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, I think sacrifice and hypocrisy will kill many of us in this country. The PDP of Edo that giving kudos to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to me, they have turned into maybe politics. Anyway, they are politicians. That's their own game, sure. But we Nigerians and many of us surely know that what is happening on ground now is not palatable. I think if you want to do something that you know is going to affect the nation, you will have already evaluated that. Look, what are we going to do? You have to have the program on ground before you will jump to the issue that will affect so many lives. Now, now there is nothing like palliative on the ground. Even some people claiming that we don't even want palliative. We want something that will last forever, because palliative cannot last forever. So I think if government want to do something, let them do it on time. Issue of talking a day and day, I think it tired me. So to me, if they want to do anything tangible, let them do it. But the way I'm looking at these people, it's just like they just want to continue deceiving the people.
All right.
Thank God. Good morning.
All right, thank you very much. Back to Facebook. Policies of Buhari pre-election was against APC and Tinubu. All the same, he won the election. He asked for the job, got it, and prepared for the task before him. He should do the needful and make life better for the masses. It's time for real governance. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I've been from David State.
All right.
Justin, I greet you and Kenny. Yesterday I went to buy pepper for my madam at the market. I could not afford.
Oh dear. Lost that call. And we must wrap up now. Time is almost up. Austin, before we go, any thoughts, any reactions to some of the comments?
Yes, I think what the Edo State PDP said was the chairman actually that spoke, Tony Azigbeni, that said he commended the president for the courage to remove subsidy. He never said what we are going through now is palatable. He said he commended the president for the courage to have been able to remove subsidy.
Right.
Of course, we know that it will take a while for things to fall in proper place. It takes a lot of reform, building of institutions, strengthening our institution, making the economy to run and to work. However, in the interim, let government provide succor for the people, palliative. And we are also looking at the fact that some of these things are coming too simultaneously, almost at the same time. So it's driving the people crazy, especially the vulnerable masses.
Right.
And the government too must also allow this sacrifice to reflect in their own lifestyle. They need to cut the cost of governance. The people cannot make the sacrifice alone.
Right.
Look at the perk of office for retired general that we just talked about this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will find it very offensive at this particular point in time when it's becoming very difficult for people to make ends meet. So those in government too must provide leadership, and they must be examples of what they want us to do. That is the way I see it. God bless Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Austin Idumu, for your time this morning. We do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's where we wrap it up on the Break It Dawn newspaper review for today. The show will be back on Monday. My name is Kenny Durosilu. The paper's review in Yoruba is up next.